All right, great. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission. Thank you all for joining us via WebEx. I know that we've all had to make some adjustments, and this board in particular has already done this once before, so it didn't look like there was nearly any problems on getting online. So I appreciate you guys doing that and getting on board with us and making that possible. We'll go ahead and do a roll call. John Thorpe.
Here.
Jeff Morris.
Here.
Kimball Sterling.
Here.
Randy Lowe.
Here.
Great. And Dwayne Rogers.
Here.
Just by way of introduction, Dwayne Rogers is our new public member. He's very familiar with the auctioneer industry, so he doesn't come without a knowledge of the industry. But also is a realtor as well. Mr. Rogers, is there anything that you'd like to say to the board, or maybe a background or just a greeting?
Well, I've been working in auctions for 25 years, the same amount of time that I've been in real estate. So I am very familiar with the auction industry and how it works and how it operates. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody and getting this thing started.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rogers. We appreciate your contribution and your willingness to serve, as well as all of our other members. So thank you all for being here. Okay. Let me read the notice of meeting, and then we'll keep moving on down to the agenda. Notice of the August 17th, 2020 meeting of the Auctioneer Commission was posted to the website on August 7th, 2020. As you know, anytime we meet remotely, we have to read the statement of necessity, vote on that by roll call vote, as well as all of our action items will be roll call vote today, anytime we meet remotely. And then have that filed at the Secretary of State's office explaining the reason for our necessity. So let me go ahead and read that into the record, then we'll vote on that, and then we'll move on to the agenda. Statement of necessity is as follows. According to TCA 844-108B2, if a physical quorum is not present at the location of a meeting of a governing body, the governing body must file such determination of necessity, including the recitation of the facts and circumstances on which it was based, with the Office of Secretary of State no later than 2 working days after the meeting. Furthermore, TCA 844-108A3 defines necessity as matters to be considered by the governing body at that meeting require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. This is the regular scheduled meeting for the Auctioneer Commission, and the purpose of today's meeting, with all of the members attending by teleconference, is to discuss the agenda as noticed on the website earlier. If that will suffice, we'll submit that statement to the Secretary of State's office within the next 2 business days. Do we have a motion to accept the statement of necessity?
This is Jeff Morris, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We got a motion from Jeff Morris. Was that Mr. Thorpe?
Hey, Glenn.
Great.
Second, John Thorpe.
Thank you. Anna, do you have a comment?
Yes, I prepared a second statement of necessity. Is it okay if I read that really quickly? Sure. Okay. So I apologize if you hear anything that's redundant. So this is a telephonic scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission. Notice of this meeting was posted to the Commission's website on Friday, August 7th, 2020. As there is not a physical quorum present, a statement of necessity will be read into the record and filed with the Tennessee Secretary of State as required by statute. Pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-44-108B2, which states if a physical quorum is not present at the location of a meeting of a governing body, then in order for a quorum of members to participate by electronic or other means of communication, the governing body must make a determination that a necessity exists. That determination must include a recitation of the facts and circumstances on which it is based. Further, Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-44-108A3 defines necessity as matters to be considered by the governing body at that meeting require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. As stated below, as stated, this is a previously scheduled
meeting going on now, period. Dwayne Rogers is a new member?
Ms. Baldini, can you mute your microphone, please?
Yes, I can. I would like to.
Okay. As stated, this is a previously scheduled meeting of the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission that is now being held electronically via Cisco WebEx. The purpose of this meeting with members attending by video conference is to conduct regular business of the commission, including but not limited to the education review, the assistant director's report, and complaints. Furthermore, it is necessary for this meeting to be held by teleconference in accordance with the Executive Order Number 16 issued by Governor Bill Lee on March 20th, 2020. Further extended by Executive Order Number 51, issued on June 29, 2020, to ensure government continues to function open and transparently during the COVID-19 emergency while taking appropriate measures to protect the health and safety of citizens and government officials. Votes will be conducted by roll call. We can just accept both of those statements of necessity. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Morris, will that be your motion then to accept that statement of necessity?
Yeah, I amend my motion to amend the comments made by Anna just now.
All right. Great, thank you, sir. And then Mr. Thorpe, will that also be your second then?
That's yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Roll call vote, John Thorpe,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Indy Lowe,
Yes.
Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That's Anna's statement of necessity will be filed accordingly. Thank you, Anna. For the agenda, I trust, of course, everyone had an opportunity to look at all the documents. Is there anything in the agenda that you would like amended or added? Okay, we'll take the agenda then. Is there as written, do we have a motion to accept the agenda as written?
I move we accept the agenda as written.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sterling. We have a motion from Mr. Sterling to accept the agenda as written. Do we have a second?
Second, John Thorpe.
Second.
All right, thank you, John Thorpe. We have a second from John Thorpe. For roll call vote, John Thorpe,
Aye.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Randy Lowe,
Yes.
and Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you, gentlemen. That's been accepted. We'll follow the agenda as written. All right, May minutes. Any comments or edits? Okay. Do we have a motion to accept?
Morris, I move we accept the minutes as written.
All right, Jeff Morris has given us a motion to accept the May minutes as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Kimball Sterling has provided the second. For roll call vote, John Thorpe,
Aye.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Kimball Sterling, Andy Lowe,
Yes.
and Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. May minutes will also be published for the director's report. Let's take a look at this budget. This will be for informational purposes only. There's no action items here. As typical, we always go over the budget so we can track both the overall fiscal health, the big picture, which would be your reserves, the historical trending down below, tracks all the fiscal years prior, and then the trends or the columns and the rows above, both revenues and expenses, track this fiscal year 20. At our last meeting in May, we covered the months of January through February. So as a result, we'll primarily be looking at the last 3 months of record, March through June. Let me get there myself. Okay. You will note overall this year's $9,000 deficit. We still maintain a reserve balance of $467,000. If you look at the reserve balance just below that trending, you're looking at about $467,000 surplus. So we're doing fine there, but trending does suggest that we may continue in a month-over-month deficit, at least in the near term, as we have experienced a 40% decrease in revenue over the past 5 months. Of course, keep in mind, 811 firms are no longer renewing. So we're seeing a decrease in incoming licensing revenue. Of course, we anticipated that. So that's definitely a part of that decrease. However, all programs across rec boards have experienced a 34 decrease in initial apps as well due to COVID. So whereas most programs are being sustained by their renewals, they've seen very little new apps. A lot of folks are kind of waiting for things to subside and the business to start reopening before they get those initial apps. And of course, Auctioneers is no different in that regard. Some of the downturn in initial apps could also be due to lack of online delivery platform for our QE, which has significantly impacted enrollment in a lot of our qualifying education programs, auctioneering schools. As a result, during this unprecedented time, without that online delivery platform availability, you could see where the conventional classrooms are going to have a lot of difficulty getting that enrollment, getting those students in through the front door. So that's something we're going to talk about once we pivot to the CE seminar and online course guidelines portion of our meeting. But just to give you an idea of what's happening, why that looks the way it does, I didn't see anything outside the ordinary in the trending, other than those pieces that I noted. For a new member, Mr. Rogers, just so you can get a snapshot of what we're looking at here, the top rows are the revenues minus the expenses below that. Edison expenses, anytime you see that right there is basically, it's basically like a accounts payable ledger. You got line items for different expenses, administrative expenses, but primarily that salary benefits are employee expenses. That's going to be your personnel, your staffing. Right below that will be administrative cost backs as well. Some of those administrative cost backs are shared expenses that across all the programs. And then where there may not be a line item in Edison, but there's sort of like rent, for example. We share the 9th floor with a lot of different programs. So we pay our portion based on our licensing pool, how large our licensing pool is, how many complaints we have, and then the program budget. And that gets itemized there. Legal cost backs would be our attorney billable hour for anything that they work on to include our legal report. So that's what you're looking at there. And then with the net surplus and deficit being itemized at the very bottom, drug all the way over for the year performance, which is that $9,000 deficit that I spoke about earlier. Are there any questions or any comments about the budget? This isn't anything we're going to vote on, just something for your own edification and reading. All right. Then we can move on then to the CE seminars. At our last meeting, Ressa requested from the Nashville Auction School, and she's online as well to answer questions if those should arise. But she requested the last CE seminar be provided online. As you recall, executive order was really reducing a lot of the footprint and was making recommendations for how folks should and those recommendations being the CDC guidelines, which made those conventional classrooms a little bit more difficult. So as we approach the next seminar on 9/12, September 12th, she would like that option be made available again and through the end of the current contract, so as not to have to revisit this before every seminar going forward. Since we don't know how long we're going to be under COVID CDC guidelines. As before, it will require a contract amendment from the Central Procurement Office, which they're working on right now. So I do have her, she sent us a letter, and she's online, she needs to ask any questions, but I'll read her letter into the record. Give me just a moment as I bring that up. The letter is as follows. It's addressed August 13th from the Nashville Auction School, and it's in regards to their contract for the seminars and their delivery. It states the following: the Tennessee Auctioneer Commission Continuing Education Seminar Programs for fiscal year 2021 will begin with the scheduled East Tennessee Seminar to be held on Monday, September 14th at the venue at Lenore City. This is a municipal-owned venue that is capable of holding the CE seminar while allowing for full compliance with the Tennessee Economic Recovery Guidelines and CDC COVID-19 recommendations for public gatherings. The current Tennessee guidelines extended under Executive Order 50 are set to expire on August 29, 2020. In the event the guidelines change or additional restrictions are put into place that would alter our ability to go forward with this program as scheduled, we are requesting the Commission authorize us to revise, the program from a live offering to electronic webinar offering to be held on the same date. Notifications to licensees will include this provision if approved by the Commission. So the idea here is to allow the online course offering option in the event those restrictions get extended or that make their venue impossible to carry or to adhere to those restrictions. However, as noted, we're just going to ask for that option for all of our courses when we get to the online course guidelines here pretty soon. But specifically to the CE seminar, because by contract, all of that has to be done in classroom. Again, the CPO office is already working on that to extend to the end of the contract, just so that she has that availability. So we're not looking at every single executive order and trying to evaluate that and bring that before the commission and time that accordingly. So what we're voting on today, well, excuse me, at our last meeting, you'll notice that we did allow, we voted to allow CE courses to be temporarily available to accommodate orders, Executive Order 36. Today, we're going to vote on allowing all courses, CE and QE and this CE seminar to be allowed the online delivery platform permanently. Any questions, comments? Okay. I'll just give you a moment to gather your thoughts. Again, the vote we're looking for is to allow all the CE, QE, and this CE seminar to be allowed the online delivery platform permanently. If voted to approve this action, we will go over the online course guidelines next and then vote on those separately.
I move we accept the online
Okay.
seminars and et cetera.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We have a motion from Mr. Sterling to allow online delivery platforms permanently for CE, QE, and the CE seminars. Do we have a second?
Second.
Randy Lowe, I second the motion.
Mr. Lowe has seconded. All right. We got a motion from Mr. Sterling, a second from Randy Lowe for a roll call vote. John Thorpe,
Aye.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Randy Lowe,
Yes.
Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Ms. Hanson, did you have any other comments? I think that about gets it done. And CPO, I'll be in touch with you as well with that contract amendment.
Fantastic. I just wanted to convey to the commission that our intent is to continue to have live courses, but we need to be nimble and be able to respond to changes as they happen. So I appreciate the consideration on this. Thank you very much. Also, just to throw this out, so when it gets to new business, if there's anything that y'all would like us to include in the newsletter coming forward later this year, I certainly would appreciate your feedback on that. And welcome to the commission, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hanson. I appreciate those comments. And gentlemen, if you have anything that you'd like included in that newsletter, this is the commission's newsletter. So please just forward that to me and then I'll get that to Ms. Hanson. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Online course guidelines then, since that's the direction we're going with our courses, we need to be talking about what that delivery platform will look like, what those guidelines should be. What all of you should have that letter in front of you that I'll send out to the providers, and I won't read all of it, but I'll just kind of touch on the important pieces. The following requirements, we've got 4 of those. Okay, anyone that's going to be offering a live or a synchronous course must adhere to these requirements. The education offering under consideration is currently approved for traditional classroom presentation. So, it has to meet all of our former standards, right? Everything that the commission would qualify a classroom course must be present in this online course as far as content and the like. Second, the platform utilized for distance education is synchronous. It's live and interactive. It's not, you could have you could have something pre-recorded or recorded and posted later for review, but the course itself must be synchronous, must be going on at that moment during and interactive. So it's a classroom course, except for it's on a screen. It's not sort of a pre-recorded sort of CD where someone just, in the middle of the night just pops in. It's synchronous. The instructor verifies photo identification of the student, so they need to relay to us how they're verifying that the person that enrolled in that class is the person sitting there in front of them. The instructor maintains an attendance roster, which includes verifying 100% classroom attendance by, for example, taking attendance at various established times during the course. So there's still a sign-in sheet. You know, they're verifying, they're taking roll during various increments throughout the course to make sure that person was there for the entirety, just like they would in the classroom. Same setup. One of the things that they'll be submitting to us, in addition with the above requirements, is the provider name, course number, number of course hours, the course instructor name, proctor name, platform used, attendance reporting method, because we have to be able to verify that those requirements are being met, and number of students allowed per course, and link to the course offering. That gives us an opportunity to look to make sure that that platform is working, that people did actually log in, and that was a real link. So that creates the quality assurance that we're looking for. These requirements were adapted from other programs where we have online courses pretty regularly, like the Real Estate Commission and the Real Estate Appraisers. They do a lot of online course offerings, and so we adapted these requirements from those programs. We borrowed, and you know, no need to reinvent the wheel. If we've got veteran programs that have been doing it for years, and we'll just take their best practices and adopt those. So that's what we've done here in this letter. Any comments or questions, or and you know, you'll be getting all the courses that you normally get when new courses. And then administration will ensure that these elements are available. As for our current courses, administration, once these course guidelines are approved, administration will make sure and audit and review for anyone wanting to offer those courses that this is in place. Otherwise, you'd have to treat every course like it was brand new, which you're looking at several hundred courses. So we'll vet and verify these requirements if adopted by the commission, but all new courses will certainly, that want to be online, will include these elements. Any comments or questions or discussion in regards to that? Okay, then we would need a motion to adopt those online course guidelines. Do we have such a motion?
Motion to approve, Thorpe.
Thank you, sir. John Thorpe has approved the online course guidelines. Do we have a second?
Second, Randy Lowe.
All right, thank you, sir. Have a second from Randy Lowe. For roll call vote, John Thorpe,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Randy Lowe,
Yes.
and Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll take care of that then, and I'm sure that all our providers certainly appreciate your efforts in this regard. It seems like we may be in this sort of new environment for a while, and it seems to be the way forward with, you know, we're seeing universities doing that across the country. We're seeing schools doing this. So we're just in that same frame doing our part. So thank you for your contribution in that regard. It looks like we're ready for the legal report.
Good morning, Commission members. This is Shalina Brown. I will be presenting the August legal report. The first item is 2020024-271. This complaint was an anonymous complaint against the respondent for holding auctions on Tuesday and Saturday evenings in a barn-type building in Tennessee. There was also a Facebook page advertising the auction, and this respondent does not hold an auctioneer license. My recommendation is to issue a letter of warning pursuant to TCA 62-19-112B12 and the Tennessee Rules and Regs 0160-01-.20 paren 2. Any questions? Is there a motion?
Okay, great. Commission, we for the first case, the recommendation again was a letter of warning. Do we have a motion to accept that recommendation or any comments in regards to that?
I make a motion, we accept it.
Right. Thank you, sir. We have a motion from Kimball Sterling to accept the council's recommendation for case number 1. Do we have a second?
Second, Randy Lowe.
All right. Thank you, sir. For a roll call vote then, we have John Thorpe,
Aye.
Jeff Morris,
Yes.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Randy Lowe.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Shalina?
Yes, the following items, these are cases that are being represented to you. The following cases are being represented due to lack of subject matter jurisdiction. The first one is 20200200751, 202002761. Next one is 202001941, and the final one is 20191000041. And my recommendation to you is to close these cases.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Do we have a recommendation to accept the council's recommendation, or excuse me, a nominate or a motion to accept the
This is
recommendation?
Jeff Morris. I move that we accept the council's recommendation to close these cases.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. So we have a motion from Jeff Morris to accept council's recommendation. Do we have a second?
I second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. We have a motion from Mr. Morris. So a second from Mr. Sterling for a roll call vote. John Thorpe,
Aye.
Jeff Morris,
Aye.
Sterling,
Yes.
Randy Lowe.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes our legal report. Ms. Brown, did you have any other comments or?
No, I did not. Thank you very much, commission members.
While we're in the legal portion, Ms. Matlock, did you have any comments or anything that you needed to discuss with the commission members?
Nothing further other than the rules that we promulgated. Those rules went into effect in July. So we are done with rulemaking for now, and that information has been published and is effective.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Matlock. That was a big, heavy lifting piece that you and your team put together. So it's nice to see the fruit of that labor and the reward of that in action. So that was a important rewrite. So we're glad to have that there. Unless you have anything else, I think we're ready for the next portion of our agenda. Did you have anything else, Ms. Matlock?
No, I have nothing further.
Okay. Other than what Ressa brought up for new business, which is just any recommendations you have that you like in the newsletter, which you can forward to me. That's all we had. Is there any comments or anything else for new business that the members would like to discuss?
This is Kimball Sterling. I'd like to welcome Dwayne Rogers to the commission. It's a lovely day in the neighborhood today.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Glad to be here.
This is Jeff Morris. Also, like make you welcome, Dwayne. I appreciate the fact that you're familiar with our business. Not all of our public members have been in the past, and I think you'll be a great asset to the commission.
Thank you, sir.
This is John Thorpe. I just echo what those two said. Welcome. Glad you're here, and very glad you got some office experience.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commission, for that warm welcome. And I look forward to the meetings ahead. This one may be a record for us. We moved a lot of business, but did so efficiently. So thank you guys for digging in and all the work that you put into in advance to make that possible. Thank you. And I look like we're ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, thank you, sir. We got a motion to adjourn from Mr. Sterling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Got a second from Mr. Thorpe. For a roll call vote, John Thorpe,
Yes.
Jeff Morris,
Yep.
Kimball Sterling,
Yes.
Andy Lowe,
Yes.
Dwayne Rogers.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. We are adjourned. You have a good rest of the day.